press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to your English class. Today we are going to continue the lesson and we will finish it off. That is A Great Martyr Ever Cherished, okay, edited by Martyr and Sslc. So we have discussed about our protagonist, okay. This is a new word for you maybe. Protagonist, okay. Protagonist is like the hero of the main character, basically the main character. So here our main character is protagonist, okay. It's a new word for you maybe. You may be knowing it or you may not be knowing it, but take it. Here our character is Hanif who was a soldier who had a lot of difficulties in his early age. He lost his father when he was 8 years old. Then his mother was always busy working for the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. She was always on duty. Her call for duty was which she could not stop, something she could not stop herself from, but rather was always on duty. So children learnt all their responsibilities. Hanif and his two brothers as well, they learned all responsibilities that they had. They used to get ready for school, and then they used to learn all their things on their own. And likewise, when all these things happened, okay, his brother got up a job in J.D. Tyler School in New Delhi, and then another one went on to take and compose songs that were there. Hanif went on to become a soldier. So he was in the army as a lieutenant, okay, and then one of the areas, this Turtuk sector, was named as the Hanif subsector later in his memory for his bravery that he laid down for the country. He was a martyr who gave his life up for the country. On the other hand, there is a recall that what his mother does, what his seniors and what his friends had told. Alright, so we stopped at how the mother appreciates the son, where she recalls what his seniors or what other people have told about Hanif, and that's where we stopped. In page number 119, follow your copies as we continue today, okay? Follow your copies and listen carefully to what I say. Okay, we stopped at 6. So we'll move on to 7 now. Hanif was a student of Kerala School in New Delhi and had applied to the army when he was graduating from Shivaji College, New Delhi. So Hanif was studying in Kerala School in New Delhi, and he had given his application to join the army while he was doing his degree, okay. When he was graduating, as he was going to finish his graduation from Shivaji College, New Delhi, he gave his application for the army. Yet Hanif didn't know much about the army, okay. We have to go to 6 and then come back to 7, okay. I thought 6 was over. Anyway, we'll go to 6 and then come back to 7 now. And he was able to, in fact, this was the quality his seniors recounted when they came to meet him after his death, explains his mother. And he was able to reach out to all. Hema mentions that a 77-year-old gentleman who paid a condolence visit to Hanifuddin's house recalled how Hanif had approached him with some queries related to Sufism, okay. Now, Hema Aziz is Hanif's mother. She recalls that when Hanif had passed away, a man, a 77-year-old gentleman, he had come to pay condolence, that is, say good words and support the family at the time of the death And when he had come to Hanifuddin's house, he said, I remember how Hanif had come to me to learn about Sufism. Now Sufism is like a philosophy which tells you how you have to be in a spiritual mood, how you have to attain God through prayer, meditation, okay? And they have a very strict way of living. Alright, now we'll move to 7. So he was graduating, he had applied for his application. Yet Hanif didn't know much about the army. So though he applied there at that time, he didn't know much of the things about the army. So the only exposure my sons had was through me, as I had often gone to the forward areas and performances for the Armed Forces Entertainment Wing. So the mother recalls and says, now though my son didn't have a lot of exposure of the army at that time, but all exposure that they had was through me, okay? Because she used to go for performances in the Armed Forces Entertainment Wing. When they had this entertainment, they have different wings, okay, different like sectors. So she had when she used to go there for performances, this is when the children got exposed to what kind of an army life would be into. Then, however, 6 months into the Indian Military Academy training, the gentle Hanif was a changed man. Now the mother recalled 6 months he went into the Indian Military Academy, and then Hanif became a changed man. During those days, he used to write to me about how tough the training was. So the mother recalls that the son was writing to her, writing is through letters, okay, writing to her and telling her, now that we message and tell, okay. At that time he was writing and telling, Hanif was telling his mother how tough or how difficult his training was. I particularly remember him telling me that they had to take a Mussoorie bath at midnight, okay. Now the son was saying they had to take a Mussoorie bath, okay, Mussoorie, Nainital, or these hill stations that are there that side, they had to take a Mussoorie bath at midnight. I suppose it was some kind of cold water bath at midnight, remembers Hema. So she says maybe it was some kind of cold water bath. Now if the water is very cold, you cannot put it on your body just like that, isn't it? Just take out the water from the fridge and pour it on your body. We cannot take that, we cannot bear it, isn't it? Because we need a certain temperature of water also on our body. We can't have extremely hot water or extremely cold water. It should be somewhere in between, average kind of temperature, isn't it? That's when our body will take it, when you have bath. Here it may be, here for him it was like some kind of cold water bath at midnight, okay, remembers his mother. Post training, as after training, Hanif joined the 11th Rajputana Rifles and was posted at Jaipur and then Saichen just prior to the Kargil War of 1999. So Hanif, he joined the 11th Rajputana Rifles and he was given his post there in, or posted there in Jaipur, and then he went to Saichen then just before the Kargil war happened in 1999. Okay, now this was the war between India and Pakistan. Alright. Yet life for Hanif was always ekdam bindas. He dabbled in art, sketched very well, made beautiful cards out of waste material, read a great deal and loved playing the drums. Okay, so with all the difficulty in his life, okay, now he was having a lot of tough time, isn't it? The training is not easy. When you have to make disciplined individuals, when you have to make them better individuals, okay, there needs a strict discipline that is there. Now, it's always like this. If you have grown up in a very disciplined environment, you turn out to be a disciplined person. But if you are grown up in some kind of wavering situation or some kind of an atmosphere that was not applicable to making you a good person, then you will end up being something of that kind. I hope you remember this story of, it was one lesson in Kannada, maybe in 3rd or 4th standard if I can recall, 2 parrots. Okay, I don't remember the name of the lesson, but it was in my Kannada textbook. Two parrots, then they were separated and they were brought up in two different places. Okay, and that has influenced their personality. Two different ways of bringing up the children have influenced their personalities. The moral of the story is your atmosphere decides how you become, what is in and around you. For here, Hanif, even though life was very difficult for him, he found it very difficult in terms of his training or his years, because life has been very difficult for him from the very beginning. Now, if you just make an experiment like this, it's always like this. In life, you must remember it's always like this. People who have experienced that kind of a thing will have more knowledge than people who have not experienced it. Now, that point I know most of you will agree with it. Okay? But there's a saying, isn't it? With age comes maturity, but it is not like that. It's vice versa. With experience comes maturity. Because only when you are put into that difficult situation, you know how hard it is. But if you are not being put into that kind of a situation, you don't know how hard the situation is going for the other person. Because you have not crossed that path. For if you have put yourself in Hanif's shoes, he lost his father at 8, okay, mother was not at home, mother was always on work, on duty, she had to go there because she had to earn a living there, she had to look after her children. Okay, so can you understand, children become responsible automatically because they know nobody is there to look after them. But you must see it is always like this, some children become responsible at a very young age because of certain kind of situations. Look at Hanif, he had no father where he can always go to the father and ask, I want this, no. Father is not there at all. The mother is always on duty because if she doesn't work, they cannot have anything. So automatically they learned to become responsible. That is always like that. When you're left alone and when you are in a difficult situation alone, you take solutions better. But most of you may be grateful because everything in your house is going fine. But for all, it is not like that. Hanif's situation can also be in some of the houses today. Okay? Children may have grown up to be very responsible individuals, and that is the best thing because life has hit them very hard. Life has hit them so hard that they learnt it the hard way itself. They didn't know any easy methods, so they learnt it the hard way, and everything after the hard way has become easy for them because they took it in the hard way, they learned all the hard difficulties, and then now because they know everything seems easy and just a cakewalk for them. Because life hit hard at a very early age. But for most of us, it has hit at a very older age. Situations like this will not encounter in most of the houses. But certain houses still have these kind of situations where the father has passed away, the mother will have to work, the children are somewhere else, and the children will have to look after themselves. Okay? Certain things happen. And children turned out to be good individuals that time because after all, they cannot go anywhere. Parents are not there. They will have to have the company of their siblings, and that's all. Okay, so Hanif's situation was somewhat similar. But even though Hanif had a lot of difficulties at that time, he had his policy of being ekdam bindas. Okay, that is carefree, happy-go-lucky. Okay, in English you say happy-go-lucky, ekdam bindas. We do say, isn't it, that boy's character is like ekdam bindas. So he was not worried too much. Why was he not worried? Because of the situation I gave you just now. Children, life hit very hard and they automatically became responsible at a very young age. So responsibilities for them at an older age was manageable. They could organize themselves and they can just pick it up and take up the challenges anywhere and anytime. Okay? So that is how. He dabbled in art, sketched very well, made beautiful cards out of waste material, read a great deal and loved playing the drums. Okay, he was interested in art. Okay, he experimented with art. Okay, dabbled is you're trying something new. Now if you don't know something, isn't it, you just keep on sketching it, you try to know what is there. He dabbled in art, sketched very well. He knew sketching also, made beautiful cards out of waste material. Now wealth out of waste we say, isn't it? Waste materials, he made beautiful little cards for everybody. Read a great deal, that is, he read a lot of books, read a great deal, okay, it's a phrase, read a great deal. And loved playing the drums, okay, musical instrument. There he loved playing the drums while his brother was playing the Casio. Okay. Which is why the officers at the Raj Rifts, as the army terms the 11 Rajputana rifles, okay, short form, made him get all his instruments from Delhi and form the music group now called Hanif. So in the army, when they were there in 11 Rajputana rifles, which they called as Raj Rifts, okay, in short, what did they do? They made him bring all his instruments from Delhi and they formed a music group, and the music group was named as Hanif. While there was not enough time to rise up the ranks as he had dreamed, another of Hanif's wish did come true when the subsector was named after him. Now he didn't have a long way to go. He was, by the time he reached 25, he already left the world. So he could not go up to many other ranks that were there in the army. Okay, rather he went away too early. But another dream of his, what was another dream of his? That the subsector was named after him. So that dream did come true, that his subsector was named as the Hanif subsector. As a young officer, Hanif has once told his mother how opposed As a young officer, Hanif has once told his mother how a post to the Nana Singh post had been named after a brave soldier. So Hanif had once told his mother that one of the sectors like that, okay, one of the posts like that, posts are like we have check posts, okay, post like that was named after another soldier. And Hanif's wish also came true in that way, where Hanif's one of the subsectors was named after Hanif. So his bravery does live on the air of the cold mountains and on the plains. So see, there are certain people whose impact you can never forget, whose influence you can never forget. They make such a great impact in the society that their name cannot be erased even if after they have left us, because they remain in the hearts of everyone. Our Hanif also remained in everybody's hearts because he was such a kind of a person, okay. So his bravery does live on the air of the cold mountains and on the plains. So that is everywhere, every mouth, every person is just taking Hanif's name, and anybody you ask knows what Hanif has done. So on the mountains and on the plains is like a reference given, saying that all people around, even if you ask the nature will take Hanif's name. But it's a reference to saying that anybody you ask, Hanif's name is on their tongue. A scholarship now exists in his name. A scholarship now exists, A scholarship now exists in his name, and his family has started a school in Kulu under the Hanif Foundation. So a scholarship is given. We often hear, isn't it, scholarship on his name, her name, after their death, children give in their parents' names, okay. So for children who are not able to afford things. So Hanif's foundation, the family after Hanif's death, they started a place in Kulu, okay. If you have heard, they say Kulu Manali, isn't it? One of the places there. So scholarship in his name, they had started giving under the name Hanif Foundation. Despite the pain and loss, Hanif has earned his family a glory that we will see him through the years. Now, if your family has made a name, and it remains through all the generations that are going to come, because That one person had made a lot of impact, and the others continued along with it because they were influenced by that person who was there with them. Here similarly, Hanif had also made his name, and his name would stay so well in the heart that each person would have enough and the same amount of respect for Hanif's family as well for all the years that were to come. It is this pride that has made Hema Aziz politely decline the India's Army's compensation offer of a petrol pump. Okay, she, after Hanif's death, now after every government employee, okay, if they die away, their family gets a compensation, or they get a job under compassionate grounds. Okay, that if the father is not there, the children will get. First the wife has the authority, if not, then the children, the elder child will get a job on the compassionate ground, immediate cases, and then or compensation in a way. Here Hanif's mother also got it from the army, compensation of a petrol pump, okay, to offer to work in a petrol pump. But she politely declined it, and she said, I don't want it. What did she say? How did she decline it? She said, there are some families whose sole bread earner is gone. They need it more. She says, for me it's okay, no problem, I am earning, my two sons are earning, we can live our living, but there are people whose sole breadwinner is gone. That is, if the soldier was the only person who was working for the family, if he is gone, they are in difficulty, they need this job the most, please give it to them, we don't need it because we can make a living, and son's memory will always remain with us, people will know our son, that is more than enough, says the mother of a martyr. Alright, so we have finished a great martyr ever cherished. Okay, so this was about Hanif and his story. It is a short story. It's nice and interesting to know some things. Take inspiration out of the things. Even if you don't take anything, I want you to be grateful in life always. Okay, be grateful for anything that comes your way. Be grateful for anything that is happening to you, and that is how everything around you will become beautiful. Okay, just you can see there's nothing wrong in talking to yourself. Just say thank you for yourself first, then thank everything that's happening. Thank everything that's happening before you sleep, and everything looks grateful, everything looks nice. You will also cherish your memories in the coming years coming down the lane. You will also cherish the memories that you had. Okay, now this kind of a situation is also going to be a memory in the future for us. Now that we are struggling with the situation, each person is struggling in their own way, but down the lane we are going to have it as a memory. Okay, so all these things will happen and will go away, but we must be prepared for anything that comes our way. Okay, with that I want to end. Thank you very much for listening. We shall meet in the next class with something else in your English class. Thank you.